Last days, 18 years old killed 8 people in Finland. This fact, with many others, remind Europeans that gun control is a serious and urgent matter. Can you tell us which is the major issue of the European Parliament proposal about that?
Yes, well, I think we decided that in reviewing this 91 European directive to make sure that all member states comply with the UN protocol on the control and acquisition of weapons, that we would take the opportunity to deal with exactly those issues. We felt that it's not acceptable for young people particularly to have easy access to weapons. So we really used this to have stricter gun control on both legal and illegal weapons across the EU. So we've put in place better traceability. We've put in place, for example, a rule that minors under 18 cannot purchase a weapon. We've of course also made sure that in terms of convertible weapons, which are a serious problem in fact for me in the UK and indeed in my own cities of Manchester and Liverpool, where we've just had raids where 1,300 weapons, handguns and convertible handguns have been picked up across the UK. These are illegal weapons in the UK, but they're not illegal in other countries. They're being smuggled into the UK. They are being converted to fire live ammunition. And I have to say, unfortunately, for some families in my constituency, young people have died. 15-year-old, 11-year-old, a 12-year-old have died as a result of this kind of convertible weapon that we see here. Now, I can go in off a street in Germany or Lithuania or any other member state. I can go and buy one of these. I don't have to give my name even. I don't have to give my passport. I don't have to give. I don't have to have any kind of background check. And of course, what we have done is said it's not. These are firearms because if they can be converted to fire live ammunition, they must come under the control of the legislation. That means that they will be treated like any other weapon, which means I must have a background check. I must give my name and address. I must show that I am able to purchase this weapon, and I must, in fact, have a license to have it as well. So we are changing the rules, making them tighter. To crack down on the problems that we have with illegal and legal gun ownership and making sure that the very tragic events of, whether it's an 18-year-old shooting dead fellow classmates and teachers in a school in Finland, whether it's the prevented shooting we had in Germany just 2 weeks ago where we stopped a young man going in to kill his classmates, or indeed whether it's in the UK in our inner city streets where criminal gangs are getting hold of these kind of weapons cheaply and far too easily. And as I said, a 12-year-old Manchester girl shot dead, a 15-year-old boy shot dead, and an 11-year-old shot dead in Liverpool, maybe with this weapon, but we have to take them off the streets and out of the hands of criminals.
And in the report debated on the plenary session, the focus is on European firearms pass. How does it work?
Well, this is something that we felt in focusing very clearly on the problems that we have with the criminal organisations, with the legal trade between criminal organisations. We didn't want to interfere with those who legally possess weapons, so hunters, shooting clubs who are legally in possession of a weapon. We felt there's nothing to stop them from getting on with their own business. And we've said very clearly to the Member States, make the European Firearms Pass easier, simplified procedure. Please don't add on costs and additional burdens to those who are legally in possession of weapons and are doing it for sports or hobby activities. Nonetheless, what we have said, and that remains the approach certainly of my own political group, is that we have said very clearly that you will still have to register a weapon. It's a lighter regime, but I believe that if you're in possession of a shotgun or a weapon for hunting, that we register mobile phones, we register cars. You should have to register that weapon. Of course, you already have a hunting license. The hunting license will enable you to buy that, so there isn't a problem on that front. But we don't think that that we should have weapons lying around in homes that are not linked to the owner. We want full traceability. We want weapons to be linked to the person that owns them, and we think that's a very basic minimum requirement.
And in the report, you call European Union to implement the United Nations Protocol on Firearms. And which are the most important elements of that protocol that we have to respect or even to implement?
Well, I think the key issues there really are to make sure that we categorise weapons in the way that we've done, that we make sure that there is traceability, that we can have in place measures to stop the illegal smuggling and illegal trade of weapons. These are the most fundamental elements of that. But as I said, we took the political decision in the Parliament, and we are politicians after all, not just to write a technical dossier, but in fact to say, look, we've got real issues that we're dealing with on the streets. We've got problems with convertible weapons. We've got problems with young people having too easy access to weapons. Therefore, we decided to put in some additional measures over and above the requirements, the very basic minimum requirements of the UN protocol. But some people would say that even our EU legislation is a minimum requirement, and that means that member states can go further. We have in the UK very strict gun law. There are stricter requirements in places like Sweden or Portugal as regards convertible weapons, and that can stay in place, and we can have the stricter controls. You can go further than the European legislation. All we're trying to do is to set some minimum common standards to fulfil the fundamental UN protocol requirement, which is to protect public security and public safety. That is our prime objective.
And what the future of this directive, when will come in force?
Well, because we got the political agreement with the Commission, 25 member states, 2 voted against, and with all the political groups in the Parliament, we now will have this in place. That means it will be published in the official journal now in January 2008. Member states have a deadline up to 2 years, 2010, to implement this. I hope that some can do that faster. I don't think some of them will need 2 years. Maybe the newer member states will need a bit longer to do that. And then, of course, we've also asked the Commission to bring forward a study, and that will come forward in 2011, which is a study on all replica weapons, not just this very dangerous replica weapon, dangerous because it can fire live ammunition, but generally we've got a problem with replicas that look so lifelike that when someone tries to mug an elderly woman, for example, with it, they don't realise that it's not a real weapon. So we want to study looking at what is the problem of replica weapons across Europe. We'll get the findings of that in 2011. And by 2014, every member state will have had to set up a computerised database for the registry of all the weapons that are in the country. Now, we've again been quite flexible with some member states that work on a more regional basis. They can set that up at a federal level. But we do say it's important to have this national or regional database of weapons so that we can have full traceability and we know who's got weapons, where they are and who they belong to.